Okay, let's dig into this. Have you ever felt kind of stuck? Like you really want to build a good habit, maybe get fitter, read more, whatever, or you just couldn't shake a bad one?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much all been there. It's frustrating when those big goals just seem to trip you up again and again. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into a book that a lot of people say is like the definitive guide for this stuff, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, our source for this isn't the entire book cover to cover. Instead, we're working from a really insightful, comprehensive review of the ebook. Think of it as a shortcut, getting you the core wisdom, the main ideas, and the actionable bits without you needing to read every single page, getting you informed fast.
Exactly. And what's great about looking at it through this review is that it really distills why Atomic Habits hits home for so many people trying to grow.
Right.
It's not just a summary, it kind of unpacks the core principles. So our mission here is basically to pull out those key nuggets of insight. We want to help you grasp why these tiny, almost invisible changes that Clear talks about can actually lead to, well, pretty remarkable results. Right, and that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The title itself, Atomic Habits. It suggests these tiny changes like atoms build up, they compound over time to create these really powerful outcomes. It's not about, flipping a switch overnight. Clear talks about this idea of getting just 1% better every day. And what the review really highlights and what I find inspiring is how that reframes everything. It makes self-improvement feel less like this giant, overwhelming task and more like a gradual, continuous thing you can actually do.
Absolutely. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it's about understanding that long-term impact. It's profound, really. We often think we need these huge bursts of effort, right? Dramatic moments. But Clear argues, and the review emphasizes this strongly, that consistency, even in tiny amounts, is way more powerful than occasional intense effort.
Like going all out at the gym once a month versus a quick walk every day.
Exactly. It kind of goes against our instinct for quick results, but the review points out that this approach works with our psychology. It lowers the barrier to starting, makes it less intimidating.
That's such a good point about the psychology, because a huge goal, like I'm going to write a novel this month, just triggers resistance, doesn't it? But something small. The review mentions a really simple example Clear uses. Making your bed every day seems tiny, maybe insignificant. But doing it consistently gives you that small win first thing, creates a sense of order. It subtly reinforces this identity, like I'm the kind of person who's organized. It's like laying one brick perfectly.
Precisely. And building on that small win idea, Clear doesn't just offer philosophy. He gives us a framework, a science-backed one. The review really details how the book breaks down habit formation into this thing called the habit loop. It makes it super understandable.
Right, not just theory.
Not just theory, but like a practical blueprint for how our behavior actually works. It taps into how our brains are wired for, well, rewards.
Yeah, I was impressed by how the review noted Clear makes that neuroscience bit sound so simple. So, okay, break down this habit loop for us. What are the parts?
Sure. So the loop has 4 stages. First is the cue. That's the trigger, the thing that kicks off the habit. Could be a time, a place, an emotion.
Okay, the signal.
Exactly. Then comes the craving. That's the motivation, the desire for the change, or feeling the habit promises. It's your brain anticipating the reward.
Wanting the outcome.
Third is the response. That's the actual habit you perform the action or even a thought pattern.
Doing the thing.
Yep. And finally, the reward. That's the payoff, the satisfaction you get, which tells your brain, hey, that was good. Remember this loop. Do it again. And understanding these stages, as the review points out, is critical for building good habits and breaking bad ones. Like, want to stop snacking late at night? Identify the cue. Maybe it's watching TV and make that cue less obvious, or change your response to it.
Or make the reward less satisfying somehow.
Potentially, or make the response harder. Like, don't keep snacks easily accessible. Clear gives us his 4 laws of behavior change based on this loop. Make it obvious for the cue, make it attractive for the craving, make it easy for the response, and make it satisfying for the reward.
Okay, so you're actively tweaking each stage.
You got it. Which really raises the question, how can you consciously use these 4 laws in your own life? How can you engineer your habits?
Yeah, that's where it gets really practical, isn't it? Moving from just knowing about habits to actually designing them. That seems to be Clear's strength, according to the review. He empowers you to be the architect of your own behavior, not just kind of passively reacting to ingrained patterns. And the review mentions some great examples of this in action. The one about Olympic athletes always sticks with me.
Oh, yeah, that's a powerful one.
Think about it. These are people at the absolute peak, right? Already super disciplined. and they're still using these tiny habit principles to find that extra edge. It makes it so relatable. If it works for them, tweaking these small things, imagine the potential for the rest of us in our, everyday lives.
Totally. It shows these aren't just like beginner techniques. They're fundamental principles for improvement at any level. And the review definitely hammers home that this book isn't just for athletes or high performers. It highlights it as being perfect for pretty much anyone, improving productivity, health, learning, relationships, whatever area you care about. The strategies are just so adaptable.
Right.
Because it gives you that clear science-backed path for goals that maybe felt too big or too hard before.
So let's get into some of those specific game-changing techniques the review mentioned.
Yeah.
Beyond just the 4 laws themselves, what about the 2-minute rule?
Yes. The 2-minute rule. It's brilliantly simple, and it directly tackles that make it easy law. Basically, when you start a new habit, the initial version should take less than 2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. Want to read before bed? Just read 1 page. Want to start running? Just put your running shoes on. That's it. The point isn't the achievement in those 2 minutes. It's just showing up. It lowers the friction to starting so much that it's hard to say no. You build the habit of showing up first.
That makes so much sense. Because often the hardest part is just getting started, overcoming that inertia. Okay, what about habit stacking? The review mentioned that too.
Right, habit stacking. This one ties into the make it obvious law. It's super clever. You link a new habit you want to build onto an existing habit you already do without thinking.
Like piggybacking.
Exactly. The formula is simple. After I current habit, I will new habit. So maybe after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Or after I take off my work shoes, I will change into my gym clothes.
Okay.
It uses the momentum of the old habit as the cue for the new one, makes it almost automatic, reduces that decision fatigue of when should I do this new thing?
Yeah, that decision fatigue is real. Tying it to something established just smooths the path. Okay, one more the review seemed to emphasize. Environment design.
Oh, hugely important. Environment design taps into making cues obvious or invisible and making responses easy or difficult. Clear argues, and the review agrees, that our environment is like this invisible hand guiding our actions, more than we realize.
So, changing your surroundings.
Pretty much. Want to eat healthier? Put fruit in a bowl on the counter, hide the cookies in a hard-to-reach cupboard, make the good choice easy, the bad choice hard.
Put your guitar stand in the living room, not hidden in the closet.
Exactly. Put your running shoes right by the door. Remove your phone from your desk when you need to focus. It's about designing your space so the desired habits are the path of least resistance. It's often more effective than just relying on pure willpower, which we know is finite. It's about being smart about your triggers.
It sounds almost simple when you break it down like that. These strategies feel very achievable. But let's play devil's advocate for a second. For someone who's, read a fair bit about habits already, maybe dabbled in self-help, could Atomic Habits feel a bit, repetitive? Is it bringing truly new stuff to the table?
That's a fair question, and the review does touch on this. It acknowledges that if you're really steeped in this field, some concepts might feel familiar. But where the book really shines, and what the review strongly emphasizes, is the clarity and the structure. Clear is exceptional at breaking down complex ideas into simple, actionable steps. And the way he integrates it all with compelling examples, that's the magic.
So it's the synthesis and the application.
Exactly. It might not be 100% brand new information for everyone, but it organizes existing knowledge into such a coherent, usable system. Even if you've heard parts before, the way it's presented often makes it click in a new way. It serves as this fantastic, comprehensive guide. So yeah, the review sees huge value, even with that potential overlap.
Okay, that makes sense. It reinforces its value as more than just scattered tips, but a real system. And that definitely seems reflected in how it's been received overall. The review we used summarizes it as overwhelmingly positive. It gave the book a 4.7 out of 5 stars, called it a must-read, a game changer. It's pretty high praise, especially in such a crowded field. All right, so let's quickly recap our deep dive today. We've talked about the core idea from Atomic Habits, this power of tiny, consistent improvements, that 1% better mindset. We unpacked the habit loop cue, craving, response, reward, and how Clear's 4 laws help us actually engineer our habits.
Make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying.
Right. And we touched on those really practical strategies the review highlighted, like the 2-minute rule, habit stacking, and designing your environment, all aimed at making that 1% improvement actually happen.
Yeah, so this deep dive, based on that review, gives you a solid handle on atomic habits pretty quickly. It shows how these science-backed strategies, when you apply them consistently, really can lead to significant personal growth. It's about seeing change not as this one big event, but as the sum of small, deliberate choices stacking up over time.
So here's something to think about as you go about your day. If getting just 1% better each day really leads to that kind of exponential growth, what's one tiny, almost invisible atomic habit, something really small you could start, maybe even right now, that could set a completely different trajectory for you over the next year?
That really raises an important question, doesn't it? How often do we just completely underestimate the power of starting incredibly small? Sometimes the biggest leaps we make really do come from those first unassuming steps. It's the commitment to that small beginning that unlocks the big changes later on.